So we are home. This is Delview neighborhood. And more importantly, we've asked for help for more than 5 years.
A developing story we've been following for you since early this morning. A press conference outside Councilman Roberto Trevino's field office turns into a shouting match between concerned neighbors and homeless outreach advocates. This after the city canceled a scheduled abatement to remove a homeless encampment behind Trevino's office, the same encampment our troubleshooter team first took you to just 2 days ago.
News 4 San Antonio's Joe Galli is here for you with that dramatic video and why neighbors say the city has done nothing to help them.
Guys, y'all don't even live here. Y'all don't even live here. All these people that are saying stuff don't live here.
A chaotic scene between neighbors and homeless outreach advocates outside Roberto Trevino's office. These neighbors demanding Trevino do something about the homeless people who camp behind his office and live in their neighborhood.
I know they need help. I know they need help. I don't want to abandon them, but you're abandoning us.
Trevino held this press conference to complain about the city's plan to kick the homeless people off of the property. The city never did the abatement, but nevertheless, the homeless people still moved off, at least for the moment.
I mean, this is not a homeless community. This is a residential community where we've got neighbors that are scared to come out.
Stephen and Kathleen Ackward are those neighbors. They share a fence with Trevino's office. They tell me they've had stuff stolen from their yard, and homeless people often leave trash and defecate just outside their property.
I wouldn't have complained so much and called the cops so much if they'd stayed on his green area or around his place.
Or his parking lot.
But why right here?
Today, I talked to Trevino, I talked to neighbors, I talked to homeless outreach advocates, and they all agree on one thing. This is not a permanent solution, and you can see that right here. Some people have already moved back to the property. Joe Galli, News 4 San Antonio.
Thank you, Joe. Continuing our coverage now. As the troubleshooters reported earlier this week, this camp was no secret to anyone in city government. Councilman Trevino told us his outreach efforts got 30 people off the streets last summer, prompting the city to start similar programs, these outreach programs they're calling them, in every council district.
This is a circumstance, not a way of life for some of us.
News 4 troubleshooter Emily Baucom brought you that in-depth report. She's live in the broadcast center now, holding all city leaders accountable for you. Emily?
Robert, our story showed specific reasons many homeless people won't go to shelters and what's being done to solve that. And you know what? This just can't be boiled down to not in my backyard, because even after all the talking and shouting being done today, the people who lived in that camp are no closer to finding homes.
With his homeless camp cleared out for now, the troubleshooters asked Councilman Roberto Trevino.
When the press conference turned into a shouting match, do you think it blew up in your face?
There's a lot of passion around this issue. Let them speak. Let them air it out. And of course, once we can all air out those frustrations, let's talk about the things we agree on. And I'll tell you the one thing we all agree on. These folks need help.
Where do they go? Where have they gone?
That's the problem, right? So, and the answer is nobody knows. Nobody knows because there is no plan.
City Manager Eric Walsh made the call to clean out the camp. This morning, the councilman called him out by name.
Feels personal and vindictive.
In a lengthy statement to the troubleshooters, Walsh says his team's been working on the issue since last summer, including daily interactions for the last month. Walsh says he personally went there last Friday night and felt the area needed to be addressed. He writes, criminal behavior at the encampment will not be allowed. We also will be enforcing no trespassing, camping, drug activity, defecating, urinating, and loitering in the nearby public areas. But the policies the councilman's team identified that keep people from getting help at shelters are still in place. You need a government ID. You have to give up your belongings. You'll be separated from your partner. There might not be a bed for you to detox.
We're trying to tackle it. We're trying to face it, warts and all.
Warts and all, moving forward, the city is going to let people continue to sleep there for the next 2 to 3 weeks while social workers do, quote, intense case management to get them off the streets once and for all. I'm News 4 troubleshooter Emily Baucom.
Thank you very much, Emily. We will continue to be here for you as this situation unfolds, bringing you updates here on 4 and online at news4sa.com.